Good morning, good morning, good morning. If you woke up this morning, say thank you, because guess what? There are millions of people who did not wake up, or maybe didn't wake up as perky and chirpy as you are this morning. So welcome to the Daily Huddle. I'm so happy to have you here. My name is Saurel Quettan, and this is my favorite thing to do in life, to be with my partner in crime, Giovanni Gonzalez, the co-founder of the Daily Huddle, and to create a conversation with you anchored in yet another crazy context. Do you want to hear it? There it is. Certainty isn't confidence. It's a choice you make in the dark. My God, Giovanni just brings up so much for me, right?
Say it again. Say it again.
Yeah, certainty is not confidence. It's a choice you make in the dark. You know, it just brings up so much for me. One of the things it brings up for me, I'll just say it and then I'll throw it to you to hear what's opening up for you and what that's stirring up on your end. Major decisions like getting married, buying a home, taking on a new job, jumping from being in a job to becoming an entrepreneur. I have always wanted to be certain in my life before I could be confident. I mean, I'm at the altar with my wife and I'm going, oh my God, is this the right thing to do? Looking for certainty, looking for knowing how it's going to go before I can give myself the permission to be at home, confident, and settled in the choice I'm making. So I'm discovering too, Jill, certainty is not confidence. So what does this bring up for you, Jill?
Yeah, I like how you're starting the conversation, Saurel. Where do I have certainty in my life that didn't come with an uncertainty at the beginning? And I'm looking at the marketplace now and the political turmoil and prices going up and a political decision, a leadership decision that it's inviting a kind of a trade war among many countries where it wasn't there, and the market plummeting, and hundreds of thousands of jobs being laid off. And so it is, and I think in all the times, at any time, there is uncertainty in somebody's life. And then there's the uncertainty of the marketplace, and then there's the uncertainty that one is living in one's life. You know, like the decisions that you're pointing to, should I get married? Is this like the right decision, or should I go in this direction or not? And I think that having uncertainty does not, let me say it differently. I think uncertainty and confidence are two different things. And I think that uncertainty is unavoidable.
Are you saying uncertainty isn't confidence, or certainty isn't confidence?
I'm saying uncertainty and confidence are two different things.
Two different things.
Are two different things is what I'm saying right now. And I'm saying that also I am saying that feeling uncertain, feeling unsure about anything, it's not avoidable. I think that being human is to have uncertainty in one's life. And I think certainty or confidence does come with a muscle one builds to declare this is all well anyway. I think, for example, I think something that you brought up for me when you were saying I'm right there in the altar and I'm thinking, am I making the right decision? And at some point you said, I'm going to say yes anyway. I don't know if this is right or if this is wrong, but I'm not going to disappoint her and I'm not going to rock the boat. I'm going to say yes. And at some point, I imagine, Saurel, like, not speaking for yourself, I imagine you said, I'm going to make it right as a declaration. I don't know if the choice is right or wrong, but I'm going to make it right anyway. And you brought that certainty to the decision you're making that you will make it right. For me, for example, in these uncertain times of market, my portfolio losing significant amount of money, some clients having the same uncertainty that I am having, also them losing money, and et cetera, all of this, for me, is that I have the uncertainty of the times. It's boiling inside of me, of course, while at the same time, I bring a declaration for myself. I declare something for myself, which is I'll make it right. I'll
Yeah.
find the opportunity. I'll find the way to seize the opportunity in any uncertainty. I know human beings do that, and I declare I am one of them. Now,
Yeah.
am I certain of that? No, I'm not certain of that, but I declare it anyway. I intentionally guide my brain to look for it, and so far it has always delivered.
Yeah. If I'm hearing you correctly, Giovanni, it's like in the world, as a human being, I can bank on never being certain about anything. To be human is to be uncertain. Because I'm listening to you, and even in the times when I was certain, guess what I was not certain of? I was not certain that I wasn't going to get struck by lightning or ran over by a car while crossing the street. But guess what? I walk outside anyway. Inside of my willingness and desire and stand to live a fulfilled life, or else I'd just be a hermit. So certainty, I'm seeing for myself a new definition. I can never be certain about the future. Let me settle on that. I can never be certain about what's happening in the next second. I can settle on that. And when I begin to settle on that, I can discover that maybe the only thing I can be certain about is the stand I take for something. Like you said earlier, I make this promise, I say yes, and then I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make it right going forward. Like I'm certain of my resolve. I'm certain of what I said I would do, and I'm willing to keep doing whatever I need to do to continue to keep my word like that. That is a kind of certainty that's not the certainty that people usually think of.
Yeah, it's a declaration. I
Yeah,
find it a good opportunity to dwell on in seeing certainty as a declaration, in spite of evidence, in spite of the past, in spite of what you think or not think about the possibility of the future. I think certainty, it's a moment in the dark
yeah,
when the person says, I declare this, I will make it right. I will find the opportunity and stand on that. And then what I have found for myself is that certainty shows up. I remember, Sorrel, many years ago, I had a skydiving accident. And after having this skydiving accident, I couldn't walk for months, and I lost my house, and I lost another house, and my house got struck by lightning
oh.
while that was happening. Okay, it actually did happen. And then it broke the tree from the back of my house. So the tree fell off on a walkway. So the homeowner association put this huge bill on me, but I was jobless and I was in bed and I couldn't walk and I couldn't pay the damn bill for the tree. So they cut my water off. That all happened within like 3 weeks. Okay. Oh, within 2 months or something like that. So here I find I find myself without water, without leg, without an ability to pay my bills, and losing my houses, and without a job. And so I felt, and without a relationship. It was a time when I didn't have a relationship. I felt hopeless. Okay, so no, not only that, because Saurel, I couldn't walk. I went to the census to apply for a job, and they said you can't get a job. Everybody was getting a job at the census, and I couldn't get a job because I wasn't walking properly. And I went to the Social Security to get unemployment, and I couldn't get unemployment because it was a self-inflicted wound. It wasn't because my job did that, so they're not going to give me any money. I mean, it was like what?
Talk about being in the dark, right?
It was in the dark. It was a moment in the dark, right? And so I remember this vividly, Saurel. I was in the couch, this little white couch I had, and I had to lay it off. And my leg was up. I was feeling hopeless. And I remember asking myself to unleash the beast inside of me. Like something like I started screaming, I will find a blessing inside of this. This is my best moment. And I started screaming it. And I will build from here. And this is the best thing ever happened to me. And I started screaming it and screaming it and screaming it until I started feeling it in my body, man. And I didn't have any water. Nothing had changed. But it was a declaration I built on myself. And that was one of the best moments of my life. Because now we have the uncertainty of the marketplace, we have the political uncertainty, we have the world uncertainty, we have all of this. My portfolio dropped significantly, like
At least proportionately to the market, I'm sure.
Yeah, but like most people's year salaries, and I have it with, and some of our clients are questioning whether we can move forward. So there's uncertainty. But because of that moment, Saurel, I know that certainly comes in the dark moments. Certainly comes from a declaration. I will find the opportunity. I will see this as a blessing. I will find a way. And this is awesome. This is testing me. This is testing us. So I see it as a blessing. And so I think certainly comes from a declaration. That's what I'm creating with.
Yeah. And the way I'm hearing what you're saying, Giovanni, first of all, thank you for sharing all of that. Thank you for being someone who could create for yourself, being in a dark moment as that one for you and you in that period in your life, and not throwing in the towel, not reaching for a needle, not reaching for a bottle, not reaching for a pill, because you could have done that too.
I was broke. I couldn't even do that.
Oh, you couldn't even do
That was awesome.
So, well, thank God you didn't have any money then, right? So if I'm hearing you correctly, the certainty that came to you wasn't certainty about how it was going to go. It was more like certainty about who I am right now and who I am becoming by going through whatever it is I'm going through. Was that it for you? Am I hearing correctly?
Well, it was a declaration. It was like when you said, should I get married or not? Is this the right decision? And then you just said, I do. And then you went to make it right. For me, I didn't have evidence that it was right. I just declare it. I did not need evidence. I did not need support. I did not to do a business analysis. I did not need to see my past or my failures or where I had strength before. I just said, this is it. I am saying this is the best moment of my life. I am saying I'm going to build my life from here. I am saying this is a blessing and I will find a way. And it was something I was just screaming it out loud. I never forgot, man. I was in this couch with pain, broke, with all of these emotions of uncertainty. And I was like, no, I declare who I am. And that's why I love today's topic is
Yeah, it's
uncertainty.
fascinating. I'm
Yeah.
hearing for us, Gio, and for people in general, those of you listening and those of you watching this video on YouTube 50 years from now, the opportunity to actually have a practice in life that leaves you like impermeable or I won't say invincible, but like no one can mess with you. Nothing can mess with you. And you are at home in a world living a life that is always uncertain. So, Gio, after having gone through that, have you found yourself in a place where you continually practice in other areas of life, making such declaration and creating for yourself certainty in an uncertain world? In other words, what is a practice we could leave people with? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, thank you for going in that direction. My entire life is about, as you know, it's about giving people those tools and practices, daily practices that allow people to have certainty under any uncertainty and in any area of life, right?
Yeah,
And your answer from me, your question for me, there's a lot to say, and I think that the most important thing for me to say right now, Sorel, and
yeah,
I never thought I was going to go in this direction, but it's what I use daily, is that I do now, I don't have to scream like I did that day because I was calling for the beast inside of me. But I think that now I don't have to scream or anything like that is because for many years, I would say at this point, I have a practice of priming my mind in the beginning of the day. And the daily huddle is a version of that because before I want the world to tell me what to think, I tell my brain what to think, how to be, what's the context for today. And that has been a daily practice I do for a long time. It's
yeah,
very important. Yeah, it's very important for me to wake up and before I go into the struggles of trying to solve my life, right? I say who I am today. I say what I'm grateful for. I say what is it that I want to create. But mostly, Sorrel, I am present to what I'm grateful for.
mm,
Every single day I do that. And because I want my brain to anchor itself on the present moment. I don't want my brain to anchor itself on the future I want. I don't want my brain to anchor itself on the past I no longer have or something that happened in the past. I want my brain to be present, to be here. Look at the blessings right now. And I only want to anchor my life in that place and my present moment. And given that that's a daily practice for the most part, now it's a habit, now it's a muscle. For the most part, when things get really uncertain and really crazy, my brain already knows to look at the present. Well, how's your present?
yeah.
Well, my
What can you
present
be
is pretty
grateful
cool.
for now?
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
would say that as a practice, Sorrel.
Now, folks, you may be listening to this and thinking, well, you mean just presence myself to what it is I'm grateful for in any moment? And as a practice that creates a space where I can face uncertainty and create myself as a stand? Yes, look at this guy over there. Gio, I want people to look at you. Look at this guy over there. He practices that every day. And here's the evidence that it works. Now, Joe, one thing I want to point to, the dark place you were in came from great calamity in life. I mean, you fell out of a perfectly working plane, broke your leg, lost your job, lost your two homes. The Social Security office wouldn't give you benefit because the wound was self-inflicted. The Census Bureau would not hire you because you couldn't walk properly. And even when you wanted to have a drink, you didn't have enough money to get
And I got struck by lightning and I got my water cut off.
it. I mean, what else, right? So while this is a huge deal to live with in life, what I'm thinking also, Gio, is that the dark places we're referring to in this conversation are really small, dark moments in life that add up one on top of the other. And all of a sudden, you find yourself in a really dark place. So don't wait until a tree falls on your house. Don't wait until lightning strikes your house. Don't wait until you have a major accident to actually deal with this. That's what I'm thinking, Gio. It's like there are small moments in life that for human being are as dark as what you went through. Could you relate to that? What do you think?
Yeah, I think what I have found now over the years now of coaching Sorel is that there's no power or there's no usefulness for me in comparing sufferings. Suffering is suffering, and a person who is dealing with, man, I can't believe my hairstylist messed up my hair, and now I'm going to go to this party with this hair, and that person is genuinely suffering, right? And another person would say, well, that's not really suffering, like, come on. I don't think I have found over the years to see that whatever people are dealing with, that are currently dealing with, it is their context of uncertainty. And uncertainty is real for them, no matter how I would judge that. And uncertainty is real. And I think that for me, in the way I empower others, is to support people in discovering how to bring certainty as a declaration, regardless of what the circumstances are. And that's also a muscle. And it's a muscle to declare oneself all right.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of the circumstances, whether for another person they're big circumstances or for another person they're trivial. The muscle is to declare oneself, this is all right. This is the way it's supposed to look like. This is how this is happening for me. And declare that. Don't look for evidence of whether that is valid or not. It's a declaration. This is perfect. This is our declaration. And I have found that people who allow themselves to genuinely declare themselves that way, they find certainty, they find confidence in uncertainty. And that's a cool muscle to have.
That is a cool muscle to have. And while we're here, Gio, I want to pause for a moment and see if anyone in the live Zoom studio audience has a comment or question. Inside of this context, certainty isn't confidence. It's a choice you make in the dark. So whether you're in a dark place or a vibrantly exuberant space, I'd love to hear from you. And Gio, while that's happening, I'd love to hear this from you. In a place where you actually go through and you prime your brain and you create for yourself certainty in the world, not certainty in what's happening, but certainty in who you are. What has it made available to you? What does it make available to one who does that practice in the morning or whenever one's faced with something? What does it make available to you?
Personally, Saurel?
Yeah, personally.
I love that question, Saurel. Thank you for engaging in that question. And I surely would love to ask you the same question, because it's a question that allows me to see that the life I love, I live a pretty cool life. And someone told me a long time ago, one of the mentors or coaches I had during my life said, what if you could create your life? What if your life was your creation? Like, if you had a white canvas and you create your life, what would a life created by you would look like? And up until that point, I only was, in many ways, a victim of my circumstances. Or another way of saying it is, my life was guided by the circumstances. This was where I got the job. This is the people who gave me the job. This is what my position was. This is my life wasn't really my design. It was the way it wound up being, the way it happened. And so in this aspect that you're pointing to, when I started discovering and allowing myself to be coachable by others, when I started discovering, declaring confidence for myself, declaring, I will make this happen, I will find a way, I started seeing that the declaration I was bringing on the universe, I was bringing to myself, allowed me to be creative, allowed me to bring opportunities, allowed me for me to discover that my brain works independently of what I think is possible. So I remember, I actually have it here. Saurel, this was in 2015, 2016. I wrote the vision for the company we have now. But at that point, I had no company, I had no employees, I had no clients, I had no nothing. I just wrote the vision for what it could look like. And the coach I had at the time said, well, that's not inspiring enough. Make it a little bit, put a bestseller there. And at the time I was like, bestseller, this is never going to happen, like, and then it says, why don't you put it like a mastermind and business owners come and they create this third. And then I started like playing around. And at the time I said, I will find a way. I will find a way, as a declaration. And one of the things that I do have, a muscle I have built for myself, and it's a little dramatic, okay, Saurel?
Go for it.
I love saying this. I am okay dying trying. I love saying that. I don't know. My ego loves it. It's like, I'm willing to die trying. And I mean it. Like, I don't mind. I mean, it's worth dying for. And so I have found that kind of declaration have led me with the opportunities to build a life I love. So that's how I want to answer
Yeah. And so you said you wanted to throw the question back at me, and I've been listening to you and getting everything you're saying, Gio, and I hear my answer in what you just said. I would die trying. Mine's not the opposite, but it's a version of it. I will live for it. The it that I said I'm up to, the it that I declared, right? I will live for it. And in this moment, Gio, as we were creating the conversation, I thought about dedicating the entire conversation to my friend, Neil Van Dyne in Haiti, and to the staff members of an organization called Haiti Outreach. Now, most people may not know 50 miles south of the town where that organization is headquartered in Haiti, gangs have taken over that town. So imagine being there, completely tied off, completely cut off from any source of goods, be it gasoline or food or whatever, and not even knowing if you'll be able to escape if they come through. Now, that's a dark moment. Now, long ago, Neil, myself, and a number of the people, all of the people who make up Haiti Outreach, made this singular and collective promise that Haiti's a developed nation in our lifetime. And that stand, Gio, is the stand I have the opportunity to go back to. In a moment where I declare all is well now, in a moment where I declare that I am that stand, I get to be in that space. And when I'm in that space, I don't know what on earth is coming next. But I'm certain who I am, why I exist, and why they exist. So yesterday, I picked up the phone. I called Neil. And I said, brother, I don't know how you're feeling. I'm not going to pretend I know how you are. And you don't need to pretend to, you know how I am. Let's just connect. I want to find out how you are. So in a dark moment, one of the things that's available to me is, instead of hiding and not reaching out, not knowing what to say, I make the phone call anyway. So in the world of creating uncertainty for ourselves through declaration, it leaves me capable of living the next moment for the stand I say I am. Not knowing what I'm going to do, not caring if what I'm going to do is going to make a difference or anything like that. Just being in action for that stand. And I'm willing to live for that, Gio.
I love it. Thank you, Saurel. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, perfect timing, Saurel.
Well, you take us away.
Very good. Thank you, Saurel. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being that stand. And thank you for being the friend you are. And thank you for being who you are for me and for our community of the Daily Huddle. And thank all of you for being here. So in order to have a confident life, there are 8 tenets to build the muscle for confidence. The first one is love. Love always. Love those you have an opinion about. Love those who are feeling certain or feeling uncertainty. Eat more plant-based. Get closer to the trees. Hug the trees. Eat the trees. Avoid at all costs processed food. At all costs, avoid processed food. Be hungry. Don't eat processed food. Avoid that. And help me in doing that too. Stretch your cheeks. It helps you with being confident. It helps you with being sexy. It helps you with stress. Stretch your cheeks. Laugh out loud. Stress less. There's only one life. Might as well take it easy. Stress less. Sleep every day. Find a way to sleep 7 hours. If you can't sleep, pick up a book. Don't look at your phone. Pick up a book and your brain will say, I don't like reading, and it will fall asleep. You don't need a pill. Just pick up a book. Move. Every day move. In the morning, right after you wake up, go for a 10-minute walk. Right after lunch, go for a 10-minute walk. Move every day. Give your jealousy away. Give your resentment away. Give whatever you find a way to give. Whenever you find a way to give, give. And lastly, and very importantly, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Check your assumptions. Check what Mark Twain says. The problem is not that you're wrong. The problem is that you are right. What is it that he says? The problem is when you're certain that you're right and you might be wrong, or something like that. Have a phenomenal day. I love you. Saurel loves you more. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, Maria, Molly, Kurt, Sue, Diego, and Miss Virtue.